Hello friends! Welcome to another Artist Alley's tips video. When selling at a convention, how you present yourself greatly affects how well your items sell. So here are some tips on how to become a good salesman. First thing is to always be alert. Instead of having your head down looking at whatever's on your phone or anything like that, keep your head up and look for people coming to your table. If your head is down or it looks like you're distracted, people tend to walk away from your table because they don't want to disturb you and interrupt whatever you're doing. So try to resist the urge to be constantly on your phone. I know it's super tempting, especially if it's super dead at the convention, but I guess if there isn't a whole lot going on, then sure, you can be on your phone, but at least periodically look up to make sure no one is around your table. At conventions, there tends to be a lot of shy and socially awkward people. And shyer people would rather walk on than interrupt you in whatever you're doing. So if you keep your head up and keep looking out to the customers, they'll feel like they're able to approach you. The second thing is to always be friendly. If you see people walking by, smile and say hello to them. If you smile and say hello to someone walking by, it may cause them to stop and take a look at your table when they would have normally just kept walking. If you look grumpy, no one will want to interact with you. In general, if you're looking kind of just angry or pissed or depressed or something like that, no one's gonna want to bother you because they don't want to make it worse, you know? I know the hours in Artist Alley are long, and so it's impossible to always be constantly happy and smiley. I know me personally, there are times where I'm just so tired I can't just keep smiling, but just always do your best. And again, like with just keeping your head up, being friendly, it will make people feel like that they can be comfortable approaching you. The next thing that kind of ties in with this is don't be aggressive. Don't yell at people far away from you or harass them into coming over to your table. Don't hound them into buying something or aggressively push items onto them. Instead, offer to help them if they need you. Usually after I greet someone, I'll say something along the lines of, "Let me know if you have any questions," and then I'll leave them to browse. This lets them know that they may ask me for help, but they don't feel pressured by me. Being very aggressive may result in a few extra sales from people who felt pressured enough to buy, but it leaves a bad impression on you and your table. Not only do customers want to avoid you in the future, and they will, but your table neighbors will likely be very unhappy as well with you, because when customers try to avoid you, they'll probably try to avoid that area in general, which will result in worse sales for the people around you. So do not be aggressive towards people. And the last thing is to be understanding. Like I said before, a lot of the people who go to conventions are very shy and socially awkward, or they just may be really young. A lot of younger kids go to conventions. They may talk super quietly or not talk much at all, or they'll make faces or unintentionally say something really insulting. And the best thing you can do in these situations is to be calm and understanding, and always be sure to explain yourself. For example, someone may complain something is too expensive, and I know I've definitely gotten that a few times, where someone will come looking at my apparel and then they'll make a face and they'll be like, "Oh, that's just too expensive." But instead of you yourself looking super disgusted with them, take that as an opportunity to explain why your items may cost that much. Some people just don't understand what goes into making items for your table. And even if you don't necessarily get them to understand after your explanation, other nearby customers may hear you and feel compelled to support your work because they know how much work and dedication you put towards your items. But don't be a doormat, of course. If someone is outright insulting you on purpose, you have every right to stand up for your work. But don't turn it into a shouting match. No one wants to deal with a shopkeeper that they're afraid is going to yell at them if they say the wrong thing. Be patient and be understanding that people may not necessarily say the right thing the first time. And also with people who may be really shy or quiet, always let them know that they can take all the time they need. They don't need to feel like they're rushed. And if it looks like they're struggling, you can always go around the table so you can better easily see what they're looking at or what they're trying to point at. So that's about all the tips for being a good salesman, but here are some other tips that you should keep in mind when running a table. First, keep your prices visible at all times. If you have a price list, make sure that it's front and center, or make sure that all your items have their own price tag or something like that. If you don't have anything like that, at least offer up front to help customers if they have questions about pricing. In my experience, personally, I sell apparel, and a lot of my apparel is very differently priced. I just recently started putting individual price tags on them, but before then, whenever someone was looking at the apparel, I would let them know to please ask me if they had any questions about the prices. Going ahead and being upfront with them, again, makes them feel comfortable enough to ask you about it. Also, don't just be alert to customers coming to your table, but be alert of your table itself. Try to keep an eye on your merchandise and your money box, purse, wherever you're keeping your cash at all times. Unfortunately, there have been quite a few recent cases of artists being robbed at conventions. Usually it's someone just snagging an item or snagging a purse or something like that while the artist isn't looking. Of course, it's impossible to be aware of your table at all times, especially if you're trying to focus on a customer, but it's always good to every now and then take a quick glance around and make sure that you don't notice anything suspicious. And that kind of segues into the last point. If you have a large table or are attending a very large convention, consider getting helpers to keep things running smoothly. And that can be an extra pair of eyes on your table, so they can also keep out for customers or potential theft. If you have friends or family who might be interested in helping out, ask them and see if they would like to be your helper for the weekend. Of course, if they're friends and family, they may feel compelled to just volunteer their time and do it for free just to help you out, but consider also compensating them. I personally have a very wonderful helper. She's my sister, and she's delightful and organized and just the best. And even though she's my sister, she's family, I do actually pay her for her help during the weekend. I'm not saying that you have to pay them, especially if they're very insistent on not being paid, but that's something to consider. They are offering their time to you. So that's about it for this video. I hope that gave you some good ideas about how to better present yourself at a convention. Of course, a lot of this will take a lot of practice. In my beginning years of selling at the Artist Alley, I was very awkward and did not talk a lot. And it was only through doing many Artist Alleys that I was able to grow more confident and better able to talk to strangers. If you have any more questions about being a good salesman, please feel free to leave your questions in the comments below. Or if you have questions about the Artist Alley in general, also leave those questions in the comments. I always take a look at comments in each video to get ideas on what videos I can do in the future. Until next time, friends!